I would love to have the delusion, unmitigated gall, the audacity of Sean Payton. And why do you say this? So he left New Orleans Saints a mess. He's like, fuck this shit, I'm out, right? He's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not working through the whole restructure. Whatever. He left. He goes. He pretends like he's going to be an analyst, and I say that because I felt like he was always going to try to get another job. So he, again, get your bag, King. He goes, he works at Fox for a little bit, and then it felt like he was kind of waiting for his spot. And so knowing everything that the Broncos had done and that they had Russell Wilson and he had that contract, which, again, I think probably is an outrageous contract, but he knew that. He knew that going in. And he walks in like his shit does not stink. And he walks in and he acts like he fucking invented football and he knows the right way to do it and he's the only one and he's going to change it and he's going to turn it around. And it's weird because the way he did that was, again, he walked in as if y'all owe me something. What are you going to do to prove to me? Because I am the all-knowing. I'm the one that's here. I'm the savior of this shit. And he walks in and, he does, I think one of the quickest ways that I was like, dude, this is going to be a year for the Broncos and for Sean Payton specifically. First of all, he tells Russell Wilson, hey, you're not focused in enough on football. That's fine. That's fair. I think there was a lot of stories where, a lot of stories came out where Russell Wilson, didn't give his number. There was no way of any of his teammates to get a hold of him. He had an office at the Broncos facility. He was doing X, Y, Z. Like he's more worried about his entourage and his endorsements and his business outside of football. He said, hey, you need to refocus on football. Fair. That's totally fair. That's cool. Change that. And I think to Russ's credit, he didn't do anything. He didn't buck. He didn't say anything about it, right? And then he broke what would seem to me like one of those unspoken rules when he went after Nat Hackett, who is now the offensive coordinator of the Jets. Which, again, you can think things, but these are professional people, heads of billion-dollar companies. Don't get it twisted. These NFL franchises are billion-dollar companies, okay? And he goes in there and he says, last year guy, oh, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, you cannot pay me to do that bad, Hey, he was awful. Not only does it give ammo to the other team, obviously, but it's like he's a fellow professional. You can say, hey, last year, we didn't do things right. I'm hoping to change things. It's so fucking easy. And and there's a way to be honest, and there's a way to be like public speaking, like safe. There's a safe way to do it. And then there's what he chose to do, which is just like, hey, let me just give ammo to the other team. Let me just do this, that. Okay. That's when I was like, this is weird. Coaches don't go after coaches. And he feels like he's above them, right? Well, now it has come out that Russell Wilson is benched. And it was a massive story, obviously. I mean, he's got this giant contract. He's a superstar of the league. He's benched. And so I think everybody was kind of wondering, sorry, I felt the sneeze come on. I felt like everybody was wondering what happened. And so everybody kind of found out that there is a clause in his contract in which, let me make this bigger for us, if he will make an additional $37 million guaranteed if he can't pass a physical. Okay, so basically what that means is that, they want to keep him healthy so that he can pass it. Okay, because if he can't pass it, if he gets hurt, then that's when the clause kicks in, and you see his money. You see the 2024 39, the 2025 37, 2026 30, 40, yeah, and 45 and 50. Okay, and the Broncos will incur an $85 million dead money charge in 2024 salary cap if Wilson is cut before June 1st. So that's going to be a big date there for us. But basically, that's kind of the contract. But the big part of it was that the $37 million. Okay, and I think that everybody was kind of speculating that, and everybody was like, "Oh, I think this is it. I think this is it." They're just trying to preserve it. Obviously, they want to move on from Russ. Sean Payton just absolutely yelling in Russell Wilson's face on the sideline. Again, if I've seen plenty of interviews with players, if they'll go back at you, you know what I'm saying? They're grown men. You're not gonna fucking yell in their face. Like, this isn't college, I got kids. I got a mortgage. Like, you're not going to do that to people. So, again, and Russell didn't do anything. And he's just, that's the type of guy he is. He's just like, okay, I'm willing to take this coaching. Okay, I'm willing to do this and that. And he's like that. But Russell Wilson confirmed it for us. He said, hey, October 29th is when they told him, you will be benched if you don't change that clause in your contract. So obviously they want him to change it so that they don't have to pay him that money, right? And they're trying to get rid of it so that they play him. And Russell Wilson said no. He said no. He said he's not doing it. And it's been this whole time. And now they're like, okay, well, enough's enough. We're going to bench you. And so he stuck to his guns. And I think, again, it would be one thing if the organization was like, hey, you're our guy. We want to make it happen with you. How do we support you? What are we going to X, Y, Z? This organization has done nothing for him. They just want him to change that clause, and I'm assuming some other stuff, so that it changes the impact that it has on the organization. And Russell Wilson said, fuck the Broncos. I'm not changing anything for them. And so, again, I think that was absolutely the right thing to do there. And it's insane. And again, now it's being reported even that several agents believe that the Broncos might have to overpay to sign players in free agency because of how poorly they've handled the Russell Wilson situation. Again, so it's a new day. You guys, this is players have choices. Players are going to see what you're doing with Russell Wilson, how you treat him. And obviously they're going to be like, if that's how you treat Russell Wilson, how are you going to treat me? You have a contract with him, but you want him to change it. Like, no, they are going to overpay. They are going to have to overpay. And I think kudos to the players, man. And if you go there, make sure you get the bag and make sure you make them pay, because I think, again, what Sean Payton has done, what he thinks he is versus what has been shown on the field are two completely different things. And no, it's absolutely, it's not okay what they've done to Russell Wilson. Again, even if he's not your guy, nobody's forcing him down. Nobody's saying, hey, that's your guy. You keep him. You got to make it work. No, nobody's even saying that. But I think that they could have gone about it way differently, and they just chose the worst way at every point. And so we'll see what happens going forward with the Broncos. But, yeah, it's going to get interesting. We'll see what happens with Sean Payton. I mean, obviously, they're going to keep him as well. But Russell Wilson, from what I've seen, that there are at least 5 to 10 teams, 5 to 7, I think it was, teams that are interested in his services, because obviously he's going to get cut. And we'll see what quarterback who has seen what the Broncos have done to Russell Wilson and signs up and is like, you're gonna miss out on top tier guys because of this situation. But they haven't had a top tier guy in a while anyway. So, maybe this is why.